So, what I wanted to cover today is the art of subtlety. Right? So, when you're playing blues, whether it's rock blues or traditional blues, the ability to play subtle phrases is really important. Um, if you're just playing wild and fast all the time, that's hard on the ears. It's sort of like if somebody's just yelling all the time. Imagine going through life with somebody right up in your face just yelling. So you want to be able to do things that are subtle, and draw people in, to paint with different colors. So I'm going to talk about, in the blues at least, the three most important notes. Now, they're not the notes that you think they're going to be. All right, so you're thinking blues, so you're talking about the 1, the 4, and the 5. Right? These relate to the 1, the 4, and the 5, right? So let's say we're an A. They relate to they relate to those chords, but they're not those notes. It's not going to be A, D, and E. In the key of A, the first important note is a note that accentuates or goes nicely with the 1 chord, right? So that's an A. So that is a major third. That goes really well with the 1 chord. All right? So the note that is really important to use over the 4 chord is not the 4 itself, not the D. It's going to be a minor third, which is a C note. So the minor third in A, right? The reason for that is that note, in context of that 4 chord, is actually a dominant 7th. It's the 7th. So you get that chord. It implies that chord, even if you don't play it. All right, so we have major third over the 1 chord, minor third over the 4 chord. What about the 5 chord? So that must be the 5th note of the scale. It's the 5 chord. That would be the best note to play, wouldn't it? I'm going to make a case that there's a better note that you can play. And that is going to be, in the key of A, that's the 2nd note of the scale, or the B. So here's what's really interesting about that. The 3 notes I said are the most important notes are, they're chromatic right next to each other. So those are the harmonies that we're implying. So what's interesting is that second, when over the 5 chord, that's actually it's the 5th of that chord. So these are all notes that are in those chords. So let me show you a way to do this where I'm going to change nothing but this note, and I'm going to imply the other chords. So I played pretty much the exact same phrase. I changed that note, the most important notes. And you could probably hear the chords changing underneath me, even though I wasn't playing any chords. I was implying those chords. So that is a trick used in jump blues and swing blues, and shuffle blues and slow blues and rock blues. So let's talk about how we can do something with that subtly, all right? So I'm going to do that same concept. I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to add a couple pieces of the scale. So I'm going to be in the key of A, and I'm going to play those 4 notes, or at least those 4 frets. So it's a 5, a major 6, a 1, and that's a 2. So the notes that I want to accentuate are going to be major third, minor third, and 2. And I'm going to play some phrases, and you should be able to hear what chord these would go over just by the phrase I'm playing. Okay, that was pretty subtle. And what I was doing was accentuating those notes, the most important notes, right out of this position. So I'm bending to that major third, which implies the one chord. Implies the four chord, because it's that note. And then back to the one chord. When I got to the five, so if you take that approach, you keep yourself restricted to these. Subtle. And really, those three notes were the magic that made all of that work. Now, what's cool is once you kind of learn where those notes occur throughout the fretboard, so there's B.B. King right there. That was his position, and he would do that quite a lot. You get some really nice, subtle phrases that are, when you don't have any background, that I'm not playing over any chords, you actually hear those chords underneath. When I am playing along with chords, when there's a band behind me, those notes really fit in extremely well. So that can introduce some restrictions to your playing that force you to be subtle, force you to do more with less. So let's give you an example where I'm going to not restrict myself to just those notes, but I'm going to stay in this general vicinity, right? You're not going to see me go out much further than here.